Now we're live. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. How's everyone doing tonight?
Yeah, we're just gonna do a hello, hello in um, a quick bit because we felt like we ended the live stream and we have I
Oh,
have
that's
no
okay.
idea what happened.
That's okay.
So you can listen to this some other time, but we're just here to tell our viewers they have another chance to do some questions. We'll give you 3 minutes and then we'll get off.
All right. So I guess the best way to
Oh,
do
there's
this,
somebody.
is from all of today's testimony. What did you find most interesting?
Gosh.
I have an answer that most people are not going to like, but I'd be interested to hear somebody else's thoughts.
We have nobody here, but we did, but they left. The most interesting thing I don't even know, to be honest. I mean, the last witness was that cop,
Yes.
and then it was the nanny. I think the nanny was kind of interesting. Other than that, it's just I don't know.
Eh,
Yeah.
whatever. All right. So I actually think that there were two pieces of evidence that, in my opinion, might have moved the needle a little bit.
Okay.
I think first, the nanny discussing in some explicit detail the potential relationship between herself and the decedent's alleged victim, I think that might have caused some damage to the defense case. The second piece that I think might have damaged the defense's case is when the detective was speaking about, or really when it was the judge denying the defense's ability to keep out some of that blood evidence. And
Mm-hmm.
the detective spoke about it very, very briefly, but I think not incredibly. So if there are two ways that I think that the defense might have moved the needle tonight, I think those would be the two. Please tell me if I'm wrong. I could absolutely be wrong.
No, actually, I think you're right. I think what hurt the defense is when he was trying to dispute the credibility of the what is that thing called again? STR.
Yeah,
Um,
the blood test.
right, the
Let's
blood test. And I think when he was trying to convince the judge that there were other cases that had some bad experience and everything. I mean, the judge didn't quite buy into all that.
I don't think the judge, and this is with all respect to the judge, I don't think the judge actually knew enough science to formulate an opinion one way or the other.
Oh, that's fair.
So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. And the nanny.
Yeah, well, she
And then
obviously
there was one,
she had no qualifications to speak about it.
right. And then another thing about with the nanny situation is the full picture of the dad and his two kids and Michelle's daughter and her. And my question is, who took the picture?
We're never going to know. We're genuinely never going to know, and I don't know how that was appropriately admitted as evidence.
Right. Oh, we had two people in here. Great. So yeah, I mean, who took the picture?
I don't know.
And the nanny claims what? She wasn't there?
Well, she did not state who took the picture. She did not state that she knew who did. So, what are we left to conclude?
Yeah, so it looks like we have
Are,
two.
are we stuck? Are we literally just stuck with that?
Well, who took the picture?
Are we
No.
are we just stuck as the hypothetical jurors to be like, I have no idea. You haven't told me who. So I don't know. Someone did, I guess.
All right,
Maybe.
so right now, yeah. Yeah, so we have, not to interrupt, but we have two people here that just popped in. And we would love to hear your input. We would
Yeah,
love to know what you think about today and throughout the whole trial so far.
absolutely.
We're all trying to put the pieces together. Looks like we went down to one, but all right. But anyway,
This is the difficult part. So, from a lawyer to, I guess, non-lawyer perspective, if I'm a lawyer, my job is to tell the story so you can walk away feeling confident in your that you've been told the story and you know what the hell happened.
well, you know what, John, that's a good point because the defense is really not telling me a story because they haven't even
That's not
mentioned
their job.
Michelle. Yeah, it's their job. What,
No,
like,
no.
what about telling the story without Michelle?
Again, the defense's job is not to tell the story. The job is entirely on the state to tell the
Okay,
story.
so I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. So why isn't the state telling the story without Michelle?
I don't know.
Thanks for correcting me on that. I shouldn't. Yes,
No,
and
but that's why I don't know, because the state can sit there quietly and be like, yeah, I mean, I don't know what the hell she's talking about either, and I mean, the state literally, not the state, but the defense could literally go to the jury and be like, yeah, I have no idea what they were talking about. Do you? If the answer is no, then find my client not guilty. I mean, that's the law.
to me, there's like three important people into this whole equation of this trial. The first person, obviously, is Michelle and the alleged dead killer. God, no way, no soft way to put that. And then also, I'm gonna have to throw the nanny in there.
Yeah,
I mean, I think so. Don't you think we need to throw the nanny in there, John?
I think that she's part of the story, certainly.
And I think she's part of the story and her connections with Michelle, because as I understand it, Michelle was and Lauren, the nanny, they frequently socialize together.
I think that the state has done a fantastic job at demonstrating that that is a very strong possibility.
Because they were
I
asking.
don't know that helps the state.
Um,
I think it hurts them, but
it hurts the state well, it can, yes, because then they can say Michelle was not alone with all this conspiracy. So yes, I can see why that would hurt the state.
yeah, I literally I don't know that there's much, if anything, that I can add to it. That God, I would love writing the closing arguments on this case.
Well, why don't you go ahead and do that? But
Well, I sort of did this afternoon.
we both did, yes.
But beyond as a very basic opening or a basic closing, ladies and gentlemen, jury, you've heard.
Why, John? I like to ask this question. Why didn't they ask who took the picture on either side?
I don't think either side wants to know the answer.
Who said the state?
So the state presented the photo, and I think I could be wrong about this, but I think the defense was, all right, let's admit the photo and hope nobody notices it. Because I think that photo was taken by the defendant. Both sides know the answer to that question.
Was Michelle in the picture, or was it just her daughter?
It was just the children.
Oh.
So neither of us know who took the photo, and I don't think either side really wants us to. Because I don't think it helps either of them.
Well, no, it doesn't help either side. Exactly, no, because...
So don't ask a question you don't want the answer to.
That's true. That's life anyway.
That's law.
That's law in life. Mother always used to say that. If you don't want to know the answer, Nancy, don't ask the question.
That's the first rule of trial practice, is don't ask a question you don't want to know the answer to.
Yeah, okay.
So I think that neither side necessarily wanted the answer to that question, because it doesn't really help either of them.
So, John, what do you think we're going to learn tomorrow? God only knows.
Are we done with this detective, or are they going to continue the cross in the morning? Were we clear on that?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I think I'm hoping that we'll see a little bit more of Michelle's involvement in the crime.
I wish that we would see any of Michelle's involvement.
I wish we would see more of the surveillance.
That hasn't been presented at all, as far as I have seen.
Right. So I have questions. One of them is, did they allow the surveillance cameras to be a part of evidence? And
that's how you keep them out.
They want to keep that out.
That's got to come in.
That's got to come in somewhere. So that's why you were asking me what would be a perfect justice for Michelle. I mean, what would I like to see? I can't answer that question because of all the elements have not come in yet.
Okay, but here's the issue that I get. So follow me for 1 second.
You're going to be the defense.
I don't think I need more than maybe a minute of your time. It's, what is the story that I'm trying to tell that I didn't because I waived my opening argument, but I still have to tell a story using the state's witnesses? And the state's witnesses, in fairness to the defense, have not been fantastic for the state. So that actually might have been very intelligent. But at the end of the day, you still got to tell a story. And if you're trying to tell a story in 35 seconds or less, what is it that you're going to say?
Okay, so you think that the state is not looking too good right now?
I don't know that the state has proven any element of the crime alleged, period.
I don't think either side is really showing us anything, to be honest.
When we last left off, I told you they need to prove three things. She's dead, he did it, and the defendant was part of the conspiracy to do it.
Right.
I haven't seen any of those three.
Oh, Noel, actually, Giselle, we wanted to come back in and do a recap because we felt like we just went,
Hey,
that was it.
but is there any of those three that you genuinely think that the state has demonstrated?
No.
So, as a matter of law, what is the ruling?
Don't you have evidence to prove your case? Because we have the state has a burden.
That's called not
Those-
guilty. That's
Huh?
called not guilty.
What?
That's called not guilty.
Hmm. So far, Michelle is probably sitting pretty right now.
I'd be pretty happy if I were the defense walking home.
So could the defense whole goal was to keep her totally out of this? So like, look here, not there.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really
Oh!
good defense.
Right. Yeah. So look here, don't look there. We're gonna try to keep you
Right.
out of this.
So if the state wants to go focus on the a-hole abusive husband the entire time, fine, go for that.
Right.
Nobody said anything that was harmful to my client, so I don't know why she's here, other than, I don't know, the state needs someone
Well,
to
see, the
play.
state needs to bring in the surveillance camera and all the other stuff that I don't know, that they allegedly have.
How are they going to do that? How? Through whom are they going to bring in that evidence? Better way to phrase it.
That's a really good question, John. It's a tough one to answer.
It's probably something that someone at the prosecutor's office is screaming at some interns about tonight.
Oh, I can see what they're doing. I think the state is like, what is going on?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, and
what the drop the F-bomb.
Oh, I just want to say quickly, John, we do have 3 visitors that just came in, viewers. And we're really glad to see. The reason why we're on today, we want to do a really quick recap on today, what happened. And we felt like for some reason the live stream just went goodbye. Don't know what happened. So anyway, Giselle made a good comment right here. If I can show it.
Not feeling comfortable with a no jury trial. I totally get that. We have been disappointed many a time in the last 6 months or so with judge trials. I actually trust this judge to try and get to the right verdict. So we do have an impaneled jury. That might become a problem, though, because they tossed at least one juror today. That might become a problem. But I think that this judge has done an admirable job of trying to take care of business and do it in a fair manner. And obviously, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I have been very impressed by this judge.
I have been very impressed by him too since day one.
I don't know that I was impressed by day one, but certainly the last 2 days.
No, but you were. I remember that you didn't like. Well, the thing about it, what I really disagree with the judge when he said about Jennifer being what allegedly deceased.
Yeah, that was one of the ones that I pushed back on because it's not proven in fact. We don't nothing the state has not proven she's actually dead. That's
No,
kind of the problem. Like that is a problem, and I don't know the best way to explain it without repeating myself from yesterday. But the state has not proven she's actually deceased. They have proven that as a matter of law, we consider her deceased.
right.
However, if she's not proven actually dead, if we don't have a body, it's really hard to prove murder.
See, this is what was drawn to me to this case in the first place. I thought it was really interesting to follow a case that actually did not have the body. And, just another, it just, I don't know, just, it was an interesting case to follow.
Well, so it is interesting. It genuinely is because we have the concept of habeas corpus, which is, I think that's the Fifth Amendment. Yes. You know, one of your rights is if the state can't put forth a body, then can you make a claim that is corporal in nature? The answer is no. However, for civil purposes, you can declare somebody dead without actually having the physical corpse. That's what appears to have occurred in this circumstance. So we're dealing with a fundamental difference between civil and criminal cases. You have an absolute right to habeas corpus in criminal matters, not necessarily in civil ones.
Okay, I think I heard that before.
And so the question is, what are we dealing with exactly here? And I don't think that the judge necessarily knows. I don't think that either of the attorneys have really briefed the matter. And that's where it creates it's where it creates a little bit of confusion.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does create a lot of confusion, and it's so far. I think we did make a comment earlier today, or later, I don't know, but we did make a comment that who is actually on trial. We thought Fotis.
Yeah,
A
okay.
dead guy. How in the world?
Excellent point. Excellent point. Go ahead. I'll finish my thought
No,
process.
I was done. Go ahead. Go for it.
I think that the problem that I'm seeing over the course of certainly this morning, and you can tell me if something changed over the course of the afternoon that maybe I did not have the opportunity to see. But it is a genuine question of who is the one on trial. Is it the decedent's husband? Is it Fortis? Is it him? Who is the one that actually is the defendant at the end of the day? And if you're the defense attorney, you're trying to remind the jury every moment of the way, what has the state said against my client?
Right.
Sitting right here, potentially facing life imprisonment or potentially death. And what has the state said that convicts her? And I haven't seen anything. I mean, I've seen plenty of things that implicate that there was some sort of malicious circumstance between Fortis and Jennifer. Sure, fine, by all means.
Mhm.
But what the hell does that have to do with my client? And unless the state gets there beyond a reasonable doubt, you're,
Well, the state,
you're going to
um,
put the woman to death based upon the implication that she happened to be involved, as was one of the state's witnesses, with a bad dude. And that's what we're going to put people to death for. Is that the standard that you're sitting here as a jury going to decide upon? Are you happy with that? Is that what you want? Is that what you want to go home, tell your wife and children that we put someone to death because she was in a mixed up relationship with a philanderer? Is that a crime worthy of murder? Really?
no.
That's my
Here,
close
here
argument.
is the thought, though. Um, that we haven't seen yet in this trial, which is kind of weird. But um, when are they going to present the surveillance cameras to show all of this, that it's out there, right? It's not in
Correct.
the court yet, but it's out there. And the alibi scribble little paper and what they were supposed to say together. When is that going to be presented? Don't you think that could have been done? Because I think they wasted way too much time with the cement and the blood, and then we spent 2-3 days with that.
I think that they wasted 2 days.
2 days. Okay, I was over exaggerating, but yeah, 2 days, and I don't know.
I tend to agree with you. I think that they need to get to the story that they're telling sooner rather
They're
than later.
dragging it. They're dragging it.
And that's not, in my opinion, and I could be wrong. My training is not as a prosecutor. My training is on the defense side. So I could be totally wrong about this. But my thought would be, why wouldn't you get to the defendant's role much, much sooner, and then use, if you have as state's witness the nanny, you have the other detective, why wouldn't you use them later on to fill in the gaps of the story?
Exactly.
I don't understand the story crafting element of it. And maybe Nancy, I'm totally off base and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But that would make, in my opinion, a better way to tell the story to a jury. Am I totally wrong? And again, I could be. It's not my area of expertise.
Well, okay, so far we had the retired detective. Okay, I don't remember their names, but then we had the guy that we just heard from today, right?
Yes.
So why are we? You're right. We don't have the total. We don't have any story, in my opinion. So now we're dissecting Foda's phone,
Yep.
not hers.
Yes.
All right. So, as an experienced attorney, how does that make sense?
Yeah. That's why I'm asking you. I'm genuinely asking you as somebody who's not a trained attorney because I don't know the answer. Is there anything that puts this story together in a way that maybe I'm missing? And I could absolutely be missing the story they're trying to build.
Well,
That's totally
the
possible.
reason why it's kind of like when you watch a movie, right? And some of the movies drag on, right? They don't really get to the plot. They're just doing
Yeah, sure.
they're just doing the character sketches, or just doing, whatever. That's how I feel like this trial is doing it. I'm waiting for the
But at some point,
what do you call that? I'm waiting for the power to come in and just slam in, because they I don't know, it's just, as okay, I have watched a lot of trials now. Okay, I have a lot. Yeah. All right. I'm one of these people. I do my research and I listen carefully, took tons of notes. And um usually it takes a few minutes, usually on day 4, we have an idea where the state's going. Just like Giselle said, they didn't do an opening. Okay. So when they didn't do an opening, I knew that this was going to be a rough ride.
Yeah, and here's the thing is that if they're going to waive an opening, and if it was an agreed upon decision between both sides not to do an opening, which is my understanding, then for lack of a better term, I want to swing heavy and hard real fast at the jury when I'm presenting evidence. And they just haven't done that. I mean, I still am sitting here with like 8 theories of what might have happened that day.
Mm-hmm.
That they're alleging this crime occurred. And honestly, I could take any of the 8 and consider them potentially true.
Something just came to my mind, and I was listening to an attorney on YouTube about maybe when I first heard about this case. You do not put somebody in jail because you have an imagination of that person doing it.
I think I know who you're speaking about. I'm not going to use
Do you?
I think I do.
No, do you think that? I mean, come on. Is this
No.
case on imagination?
Do I think that that's yeah? Do I think that that's a valid statement of law that you don't throw someone because you might have some sort of idea in your mind that maybe he did something? Yeah. I also think I might know who the attorney you're referring to is. Both of those can be true. No, we don't throw people in jail because we have a vague idea that maybe somebody did something. That's
Right.
not the law. That's what defense attorneys lose their minds over. That's what I stand up every now and again and go scream in a corner over. Is no, that's not the standard. Because somebody might have done something does not make whatever they want to come up with and let you fill in the blanks a crime. We don't create Disney fairy tales and then throw people in prison or execute them for them. That's not the way that the system's supposed to work.
Exactly.
And many of you have not had the opportunity to hang around backstage with Nancy and I. But I've said this very much more explicitly, and I'm going to say it explicitly right now. I am not going to I allow as an attorney, and God forbid somebody decided to make me a judge, nobody is going to be executed under my watch because we came up with a Disney fairy tale that was close enough. That's not the way that this works. That's not the way this is going to work. That's not the way this should ever work. That is not law. At that
No.
point, that is pure barbarism. And we don't live that way.
Mm-mm.
Sorry, not here, not in this court, not today. If you want to vote me out, vote me out.
Kangaroo court?
Not in my courthouse.
Is that what it's called, a kangaroo court?
No, it's called the
Kangaroo fantasy.
We'll talk about that later, but yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just okay. Yeah, so I thought that was quite interesting. A way to look at this whole entire situation, because that's right now. So if this lawyer, when I will not say names, but if he said that, so what are we going to do for the next 3 weeks? Are we going to still have our imagination?
I think what we're going to do is we are going to do what we've done from the beginning. We are going to review the work of the lawyers on both sides, whether for good or ill. We are going to criticize them when appropriate. We are going to praise them when appropriate. And we are going to see if justice is actually being served.
Good point.
Otherwise, we can give up and let people watch it on their own, and they can draw their own conclusions.
Oh, we're not going to give up.
Well, I mean, look, as far as I'm concerned, I think the judge is doing a good job. I think that he's controlling the process in a very good way. We don't have to give up. We're going to keep fighting.
Oh no, we're fighting this. No, but when my question really was that if this case is going to continue on to this road, we're left to our imaginations.
And we're going to keep calling them out in the meantime.
It's like, why are you doing this? Why are you letting the jury, the viewers, the people that are hosting the trial, why are you making us do your work, but you're not going to present the facts that we find?
Well, so you're dealing with two problems.
Huh?
You're dealing with two things. I said two problems, but that's not really right. You have the fact that we haven't had the opportunity to hear the defense's case at all.
No, we haven't.
So this is all just the state.
But we have the ability to research what was really going on with different things, with different stuff on the YouTube world.
But they're not the jury. They're not given that privilege.
No, they're not. Absolutely not. Because
for a very good reason. For a very good reason. They're not given that privilege.
No, I don't mean that, John. I really don't mean. I know that. I know that you're in jury. You can't just look things up, which is really a good idea. And I'm glad that's the law. But all I'm saying is, you're not being fair to the jury right now. You're not. And I bet you anything they're going home confused as
fair. And you're probably
and you're not being fair to people like you and I who are on YouTube. We're putting ourselves out there. We're fighting the good fight. We're watching how the court systems are, because I think it's a privilege that we have right now that we should all be thankful for.
I agree with that. I agree with that statement, certainly.
Yeah, and also I think right now we're just being robbed of what's really going on.
I don't know about that. And I'm going to I honestly I genuinely welcome disagreement on this point. I think that the rules of evidence exist for a very, very good reason. And I think that it is ultimately good and protective of both the defendant and the alleged victim's rights
Okay.
that
All right.
certain things are not introduced into evidence at all, that they're not spoken about, that they're explicitly not spoken about, and that the judge, as the ultimate administrator of the court, does not have to talk about them in front of the jury.
So do you think the surveillance camera will come in?
I think it will. I think it shouldn't.
Why do you think it shouldn't?
Relevance. 403 evidence.
Hmm.
Cumulative.
Well, I mean, it shows her that you can assume any way you want.
You can, but it's being brought in for a specific reason. What is the reason it's being brought in for? This is why evidentiary objections really do matter in life. Is if their whole point is that they just want to bring it in for a prejudicial inference by the jurors, because the judge already ruled that if they want to bring in cumulative evidence of the fact that it was a bad marriage, he doesn't want that in anymore.
No, because that's
so it's being brought in to prove that it was a bad marriage over again. Then the judge already ruled that it shouldn't begin.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point, is that we want to be fair to both sides.
Right. Okay. So, what we'll do is we'll be on tomorrow, and you will find the coverage.
You'll find our Nancy's. There's very little likelihood that I'm going to be ready to get everything set up, if that's all right.
You'll find it on mine, on a hot coffee.
Right. But I will do the one more smoke if you want to do that with me.
Yes. We'll keep the tradition and the one more smoke. If anybody has any questions for John,
so
good taste.
Whomever we might have, if you have any question that is in good taste and within our ability to answer.
And it doesn't have to be about the case.
And it does not at all. In fact, in many cases, I prefer that I did not.
Yeah, I think we're gonna rest that tonight. John, did you look into the email I sent you? No.
I will answer that in 5 seconds. The answer is no at the moment.
Maybe I better put my email up there too. Maybe not. Okay. Email John. Giselle,
this is the Karen case.
Oh,
I have not had a chance to read through it. I apologize. I will absolutely do that. But I did receive it.
Oh, you know what? You've been campaigning on that enough. Let's look into that, John. She's a loyal viewer.
No, absolutely,
We're
100%.
gonna
I
absolutely
feel
look up on that.
I feel bad that I feel bad that I didn't go
Oh,
through it.
Giselle, you sold me.
All right. It's only 34 pages. I might actually be able to do that over the course of the smoke. If there are some questions that we can cover in the meantime.
It's absolutely bananas. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the Commonwealth Free Karen Read.
You have so many thoughts. You know what? John, I think I'm in. I know a little bit about this case.
Yeah, I think I can find it. All right, Giselle, talk to us.
Yeah, Giselle.
Give me the. I have the case. Can you give me the 30,000-foot overview? And I'm happy to talk it through.
Giselle, do you feel comfortable coming up here? No, I'm kidding. She doesn't. You don't have to show your face.
That's okay. If
Me
she
too,
if
links.
she if she can give me the 30,000-foot overview until I find a free copy because Scribed is kind of obnoxious. Just give me the 7-sentence overview and let's see what I got.
Here's an open invite. She says no. Come
That's
on.
very dangerous, generally
You can
speaking.
just show your pretty face with your picture. Oh, she didn't want to do it. She's shy.
It's okay.
That's all right.
That's why I said if
Kara's the defendant and her boyfriend is a victim. State case says she was drunk and ran him over.
is this a Massachusetts?
There was another case like that too.
There was. I saw some of it.
And
That's why I want to make sure that I was right before I responded to the case. Oh, okay.
And
so I literally saw this today. Giselle, honest to God, I mean this. It's sincereness in my heart. I literally saw this case come up on my YouTube today, and I am a little torn.
Really? Give us your thoughts.
If it's the case I'm thinking about, I want to make sure that's the case I'm thinking about. I don't want to give an opinion if it's not the right one. Is this the one where she ended up in a tree? I tell you, there's a very good reason why I don't want to speak unless I know if it's the case that I'm thinking of.
There was
one that literally came up.
Does she end up in the tree?
All right. Let me ask you very briefly, is this a Florida case? Because if it is, then I know exactly the one you're referring to.
I don't know. She ended up in a tree. There is a tree house trial going on.
All right. So there is, I don't know if this is the case that Giselle is referring to.
It's not in Florida. I don't think it is. Where is it, Giselle?
Might have been Midwest. I don't know. Either way, there's a case that's going around the law tubes where a woman was in the portion of a custody dispute and may or may not have tried to run over her soon-to-be ex. Ended up lodged in a tree and was highly intoxicated at the time. I'm wondering if that's the case that Giselle's talking about. It sounds very, very close. I just don't remember the. It was.
Maine,
It was Maine. Oh God.
Maine.
Okay. Okay. Then yeah, it's exactly the one that I'm thinking of.
It's your call, John. John? What do you think? It's your call. I did 2 of them so far.
If you want, I will pull up a video on this one. It's your choice. It's your channel. But this one is kind of a lunacy situation.
It was during a blizzard, so how could it be in Florida? It does snow in Florida, though. In Panama City, it snowed too, but not very often. So that's what the kids tell me. Okay, so yeah. What do you think, Giselle? You think we should yeah.
Let's see if I can find it. Is this the
What do
one
you
that
think, John?
drove
I think we should probe right into this.
Is this the one that drove into a tree or the one that drove into a Dollar Tree? Because, you know,
1 second, I'm sorry. I had to.
Who is the hell running this video? They couldn't find the body immediately. Oh, Lord, Giselle, you have my email. Do you want to send me a link and we'll watch the news report at the very least? I'm not gonna play the video on your channel. That would be wrong. But that's not the one that I was thinking of. Jeez Louise. So the motion that you sent me was denied. God, I saw something going around the law tubes earlier that was so similar in a fact pattern.
We could do it some other time if you like.
I mean, it's fine.
Whatever. I mean, I don't care.
If you don't mind hanging around for another 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, we got her now. We might as well strike while the iron's hot.
You got our attention.
Certainly. That is obviously true. Any event. All right, last thoughts. What do you think for tomorrow we're going to have coming up? Obviously, we're going to have a little bit more of the detective. Although I actually think that they rested. Didn't they? Am I wrong about that?
What?
Did the state rest? Or am I totally off base?
State didn't rest.
Didn't they? No, seriously, honest. That I mean that as an honest question.
Oh, I don't know.
I thought the state rested.
They should. Oh my God, if they rested, then here.
Giselle, I got what you sent me. So, I don't know what, or they might have just released the witness as opposed to resting fully. That's entirely possible. I could be wrong.
No, I know. I don't think that.
That's what it sounded like, though.
I don't know. Let's play it again.
Here, I'm going to mute myself for a second while I take a look at Giselle's link.
Giselle, did you get the impression that the state rested already? I don't think so. What happens if somebody would accidentally say we rest and didn't really mean it? Has that ever happened?
Say that again?
Has it ever happened when somebody accidentally says we rest?
Yes. Yes, it has.
And what happens when they really didn't? Did they take that from? Is it
They go, Your Honor, I apologize. We didn't mean it. We have one more thing that we would like to say.
Oh my gosh, that would just be so embarrassing.
With the indulgence of the court, we would like to continue argument just with a small bit of your indulgence. And the judge every single time is gonna chuckle to his or herself and be like, "That's okay."
Would the attorney be in trouble by the firm, wouldn't they?
It happens to all of us. It's okay.
Has it happened to you?
No. Fortunately. But the judge is always going to allow it. Nobody's ever going to get in trouble. It was a mistake. You had one more thing on the back of your clipboard that you didn't get to, and you rested early. It's no big deal. That's okay.
Yeah, but like in the beginning of a trial now, like after, oh wow, that would be horrible.
No, I seriously do mean it when I say that it's no big deal. It's okay. We get it. Everyone's been there.
Are we going to listen to what she sent through you from email?
Yeah, let me see if I can get that set up.
Okay.
Unless you want to, you had something that you wanted to fire off.
No, I want to hear this.
All right. So let me mute myself for 1 second so I can set up another window to share it.
Still, that would be so embarrassing. Let's just say no further questions, Your Honor.
No, because you have to do it. I mean, if you're talking about a witness that you just forgot to call or whatever, it's better that you bring the person than you don't. And sometimes you gotta eat crow. There's it's an old saying. I think this is the right. Is this the right one?
Well, if you're just coming in, we're just recapping, and also we are going to probe into the Karen Read case. We're gonna listen to it, and we're just gonna.
But yeah, there's an old saying in law that it's better. I think it was at least attributed to Thomas Jefferson that it's better to eat crow while it's warm and tender than when it's cold and livid. Something like that.
Yeah, that's a good quote.
So, look, if you screwed up, Your Honor, I apologize. Can I have one more witness, please? And the judge, 9 times out of 10, is like, yeah, that's okay. Thanks for letting me know.
We're only human.
Yeah. All right. I'm 99% sure that this is the right one. So if you want to throw it on, I'll hit play. All right.
To a house party at the home of a fellow officer in Canton, Massachusetts. When Karen and John arrived, Karen did not exit the car. John did. From that point forward, there are 2 very different versions of what happened. Prosecutors say Karen was mad at John and purposely struck him with her car and left him on the ground to die in the snow. But Karen and her defense team say John went to the party. Something terrible happened inside the house, and his body was placed outside where he was found dead the next morning. Karen has been charged with murder but claims she is the victim of a big cover-up by police. Meanwhile, both inside and outside the courthouse, things have been getting very tense. A local blogger who goes by the name Turtle Boy organized a protest outside the courthouse to support Karen. Tonight, we speak live with Turtle Boy. Then we'll bring in the attorneys for Karen Read as we investigate the death of John O'Keefe and the allegations of a police cover-up. I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. Great to have you
I
with
like
us.
this guy.
Karen Read, like every other criminal defendant, when they're charged, is presumed innocent. And it's no different in this case. But in many of the cases we cover on Court TV, right, the presumption of innocence applies, but and I think sometimes in the back of my mind, yeah, they're presumed innocent, but come on. We've from the evidence that's been released already, it doesn't look really good for that defendant. This case is a little different and potentially a lot different, depending upon how the evidence plays out, because there are 2 very different versions of what happened that night in Canton, Massachusetts. Now, we rarely hear from criminal defendants. They don't usually testify at trial, and they usually don't talk before the trial. But in this case, that's not the case.
Who's in jail?
I mean, she has spoken. Karen Read has spoken out. And even though we rarely hear from defendants, we've heard from this one.
This guy?
So that makes this case a little bit different because the defense has an alternative story about what happened here. Many times the defense is, they can't prove their case. Period. End of story. They don't have the evidence. And as we know in our system, the defense doesn't have to prove anything. They don't have to put one witness on the stand. They don't even have to come up with an alternative theory as to what happened in the case.
Oh my God, that's smart.
It's up to the prosecution to prove beyond any and all reasonable doubt. But again, here, things are different. There's an alleged police cover-up here that John O'Keefe went inside that house, which was a party with fellow officers and family members, et cetera. And the allegation is that something happened in there. And that's all being covered up.
Not et cetera. You fucking moron. I'm sorry.
So that is a bold move.
Mm-hmm.
Again, rarely do you see this play out, especially before a trial. But the defense has been very, very vocal about it. And how would you react? And I'm not presuming this case is one way or the other, but I always think about this. If I've been wrongfully accused of something, would I just sit back and wait for my moment in court? Or would I literally be screaming on the steps of the courthouse so everyone knew that I was innocent? I think I would choose the latter.
Did he
That's the way
literally
I would
say
react.
that?
Now, someone could be guilty and react that way, but if I was innocent,
Rewind that
knowing
just a little
myself,
bit. Let me hear that
despite what my
again,
attorneys
John.
may or may not be telling me, I think I'd be saying that, especially if I was accused of murdering someone that I cared. They don't have to
Wait a
put one
minute.
witness on the stand. They don't even have to come up with an alternative theory as to what happened in the case. It's up to the prosecution to prove it beyond any and all reasonable doubt.
Absolutely true.
But again, here, things are different.
Why?
There's an alleged police cover-up here that John O'Keefe went inside that house, which was a party with fellow officers and family members, etc. And the allegation is that something happened in there. And that's all being covered up now.
Allegedly.
So that is a bold move. Again, rarely do you see this play out, especially before a trial. But the defense has been very, very vocal about it. And how would you react? And this is, and I'm not presuming this case is one way or the other.
You literally just
But I
did.
always think about this. If I had been wrongfully accused of something, would I just sit back and wait for my moment in court? Or would I literally be screaming on the steps of the courthouse so everyone knew that I was innocent? I think I would choose the latter. That's the way I would react. Now, someone could be guilty and react that way.
Anything works.
But if I was innocent, knowing myself, despite what my attorneys may or may not be telling me, I think I'd be saying that, especially if I was accused.
Okay. All right. So I have to be careful what I say because Court TV is a sponsor of YouTube. This is the stupidest legal advice you could ever get from anyone anywhere. Okay? That's the dumbest thing that anyone can ever tell you. And if any lawyer ever actually tells you that, then fire them immediately, seek other counsel.
The Lord tells you what, to stay quiet?
Not to scream on the steps of the courthouse that you're innocent.
Well, is he saying that that could be an option?
That's what he's actually advising.
He should advise a audience. He's not really an attorney, is he? Is he a reporter?
He probably is a reporter.
Okay, so if
He's
no,
reported. It's
you
bad
do not
advice
give out
to do that.
full advice at all, for one
You know,
thing.
your advice, it should be, if you end up in that sort of a circumstance, call a lawyer.
Yeah.
Let me rewind this one more time. Listen to what he actually says. I think this is actually unethical for a journalist.
He kind of lost some credibility to me right now.
I think this is unethical for a journalist, and you can maybe speak to that a little bit more.
That makes this case a little bit different because the defense has an alternative story about what happened here. You know, many times the defense is, they can't prove their case, period, end of story. They don't have the evidence. And as we know in our system, the defense doesn't have to prove anything. They don't have to put one witness on the stand. They don't even have to come up with an alternative theory as to what happened in the case. It's up to the prosecution to prove it beyond any and all reasonable doubt.
Of course, true.
But again, here, things are different.
That's
There's an alleged police cover-up here. That John O'Keefe went inside that house, which was a party with fellow officers and family members.
All right. So I'm pausing again. I'm going to ask you, Nancy. Are there standards of ethics for journalists?
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
And do some of those standards include not providing professional advice for which journalistic individuals are not necessarily?
Absolutely. You do not, absolutely not. You do not tell an audience you could do two things. You could keep quiet or go to the steps and scream out, I'm innocent. You don't do that. No. Your job as a reporter is to show the facts. And you also need a source to back up your facts. And that facts means that if somebody questions your facts, they can look up your source and find the fact that you actually talked about.
Okay.
Now,
So
why do you think, you guys, in my channel, that when I put up something there, do you always see where I got it? Yes.
I would.
Can you go?
Nancy, I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe in your integrity.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you very much for saying that. And that's how I roll.
But is this, let me ask you genuinely, is this beyond the line in terms of, in my opinion, this is a journalist giving legal advice?
He's a borderline of doing it, yes. And then also he should never said that because that was probably a stupid comment.
All right. Sorry, that's why I applaud
Oh,
that.
he really should have took that out of the equation. He was right about the defense and how they, all that good stuff. Okay. He should never have said that because what happens is you're going to have some stupid person. I'm not stupid, but let's just say naive. That's
Ill-informed.
I hate the word stupid. Ill-informed, yes, ill-informed person listening to this. And what if they actually did that? I heard it on court. I heard it on law and crime that I can just go to the steps and tell everybody I'm going to yell, I am NSI. Then
every lawyer who's walking off of those court steps because they were in court is going to look at them and be like,
and if I was a
you poor stupid bastard.
If I was a producer of this show, I would have questions with Vinny. Now, am I questioning him now? Yes, I liked him, but not now.
Okay, I'm mad. I'm mad as a lawyer.
You gotta be mad as a lawyer because what happens is they shine a horrible light on your profession.
You're absolutely right about that. I mean,
because now we're looking at this case, right? Right now, you and I, Giselle, we love you dearly. We know the case. I mean, yeah, I want to know about the case. I don't want to know about what you think that
somebody should do in the circumstance. Oh Lord! All right. I'm gonna keep it plain.
Members, etc. And the allegation is that something happened in there, and that's all being covered up now.
Allegedly covered up.
That is a bold move.
Thank you.
Again, rarely do you see this play out, especially before a trial, but the defense has been very, very vocal about it. And how would you react? And I'm not presuming this case is one way or the other, but I always think about this. If I've been wrongfully accused of something, would I just sit back and wait for my moment in court? Or would I literally be screaming on the steps of the courthouse so everyone knew?
I would shut the fuck up.
I think I would choose the latter. That's the way I would react. Now, someone could be guilty and react that way. But if I was innocent, knowing myself, despite what my attorneys may or may not be telling me, I think I'd be saying that, especially if I was accused of murdering someone that I cared about, someone that I loved. And that's the allegation in this case. Although prosecutors are saying they're in the middle of this big fight and this breakup, etc. So here's the thing that has happened in this case, which again is another rare development, is that Karen Read has supporters who've shown up in large numbers in this usually sleepy courthouse in Norfolk County in Dedham, Massachusetts. I've been to that courthouse. There's not a million courtrooms there. I think there's actually 2.
Again, I don't really know about this case, and
she has a cult.
I really want to.
She has a cult.
So fine, okay, but I am genuinely pissed off at this quote unquote anchor. And I'm mad. I'm going
in the building. And the one where this case is being held is the very historical Sacco and Vanzetti courtroom. Not much happens.
A
in
stack with
Dedham.
Ben
I
Zeddy?
mean, it's not like there's a bunch of people.
Are you really citing
showing
that?
up? Like if you're in the middle of a big city, you
Are you
could
a
always find
crack?
people that might show up at a courtroom. Here, you have to be there for a specific reason, and that's what happened. Large numbers, and they are clearly supporting Karen Read and think something is going on here that is terribly, terribly wrong. Again, at the outset, we want to investigate and get as much information as possible on the show as we continue to track this case as it moves towards a trial.
Wow, this is a banana.
I don't know. I haven't
How
seen
do
all
I
the
take
evidence.
this
I haven't heard
guy's
all the
job?
evidence.
What?
She's presumed
How
innocent.
do I take this
But
guy's
anyone
job?
that the defense is pointing the finger at is also presumed innocent, right? That's
Yes,
the
I
way
can
our
do that
system
in a heartbeat.
works.
You do what in a heartbeat?
But tonight
Good
we're going to try to
job.
figure out what exactly is going on in that town. And for me, it begins with this outpouring of support for Karen Read. Take a look at what is actually happening in Dedham, Massachusetts, when there are hearings in this case. Take a look.
Pieces waiting. The Lloyd. The
Oh
Lloyd,
my
Lloyd,
God.
whatever his name was.
Right.
That's right.
I'm
You were.
gonna have to pause that and take my feet out of it because I know one of those attorneys.
What attorney did you really?
Yeah. And I am going to limit my commentary going forward. Maybe now would be a good time to give our sign off. I can tell you a little bit more of the story in the background.
No.
But I know one of those attorneys, and there's
That
literally
would be very ethical.
there's no way that my obligation is not to disparage another attorney without reason, and I don't know that I can uphold that ethical obligation right now. So I think that it's probably best that I just quiet myself down.
Yes, it is bananas. It definitely is bananas.
I
And-
didn't say that.
Hmm?
I didn't say that.
No, but she said it. Giselle, you're right. It is a crazy. Yes, I agree. So far, it's bananas. But you know what? We are going to say goodnight and like and subscribe. And Giselle, thank you so much for coming in and sharing that with us.
No, I appreciate you sharing it.
Yeah,
I I just have an ethical obligation not to disparage another attorney, and I don't know that I could do that given what I just saw. But
well, you know, and
that doesn't mean I don't appreciate you sending it over.
you're right. And as a journalistic view of it all, yeah, I mean, I also believe it's my profession too, as well. And I don't know. Okay. So all love and fair.
Sounds fair to me.
Okay. So anyway, we are going to say goodnight. And
I think we're probably, unless you have to do something, can we do tomorrow on your channel as well?
Absolutely.
Because I think I have something early in the morning.
okay, why don't we do that? Why don't we? I will be on in the morning and I will see everybody. And thank you very much, Lori, for listening to us.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys. And good night. Hit the like button because it warms my heart.
Please do so.
Out.